Members of the EDA, it is now 7 p.m. on October 29. So ordinarily, we would have the chair of the body call the meeting to order, but since this is the first night, just an administrative note, if I can ask you all to nominate a temporary chair to call the meeting to order and to approve the agenda, then we can get started. So I'll let you guys just appoint somebody to be the temporary chair to call the meeting in order. If you can please do that this time.
Nominate Tyrone. Tyrone. Get longest tenure. It's a temporary thing.
Yes, sir.
We're not gonna vote.
Well, you can vote internally right now, but it's well, that's the permanent. You'll be voting on a permanent. Like this is just to get the first meeting started.
I think you may still need to vote on the chair.
Yeah.
So would you guys want to vote on the temporary chair?
Yes.
I'll make a motion. Nominate Tyrone Brown as our temporary chair. I second.
All in favor?
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. One not here. So, sir, Mr. Brown, so you are the temporary chair. Please call the meeting to order.
I would like to call the first Economic Development Authority regular meeting for October 29th, 2025 to order.
We could. But that's gonna be at the end, so.
All right. At this time, I would like to do the roll call. My apologies. Yeah. Gotta look at. Reggie, can you make the roll call from there so that way we can get.
Mr. Van Dyke?
Yeah.
Mr. Guy P. Garbash?
Yes.
Ms. Harris? Mr. Daly? Here. Mr. Nickerson? Here. Mr. Brown?
Right.
And Dr. Spin?
Here.
All present.
All present. Mr. Chair, back to you, sir, for the adoption of the agenda.
Would like to make a motion to adopt the agenda for tonight.
I'll second.
Call for question.
All in favor?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. Agenda is adopted. There are no minutes as this is the first meeting, and so we will go right into a presentation to the EDA. So good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Keith Nguyen. I'm the staff liaison to the EDA. First, welcome to your first meeting. I appreciate your service and for your time here tonight, as well as going forward, all the great work that we'll be working together. So I'll be your primary staff liaison. Mr. Tabor is our planning and community development director. He is our backup liaison to you as he's the primary for the planning commission. And then Ms. Cheryl over there is the assistant town clerk. She'll be helping taking minutes so that you have from these meetings going forward. So in terms of tonight, there's several things that staff would like to share with you all as we sort of, get you guys onboarded so that the board can start to conduct the business of the EDA. Okay, perfect. All right. So this is the proposed onboarding plan for you all. This was also briefed to the town council at, I want to say 2 council meetings ago. Let's see. This is the presentation overview. Obviously, we'll start with a little bit about who you are. I already mentioned the staff liaison of myself and Mr. Tabor. We'll go through some of the EDA best practices for those that have not served on an EDA before, and then sort of a proposed 30, 60, 90 days launch, just to get you, sort of a heads up on kind of what's coming down, get you situated, focusing on, crawl, walk, run, get you some small wins as the board gets established. And then some initial short-term EDA initiatives, and then ending with sort of like, why does the EDA exist? What's the benefits to you all, and what's the benefits to the residents? The short-term initiatives is not all encompassing. It's just something that staff thought of at this point. Certainly, as you are, as you conduct your regular business, you can also bring forward your own initiatives. So this is just not an all-encompassing list. Sorry, here. So this is the current slate of the EDA member as appointed by Town Council. Thank you again for your service. You are all very accomplished individual, and we are excited to work with you all. As you can see on the right column, EDA position is TBD. As such, you all will, as part of your onboarding is to elect your officers for the fiscal year. And I'll explain how that works here as we go through the bylaw. But that's the current slate. The only other thing that's kind of of note is the term ending. By the bylaws, we appoint you all to staggered terms. And so that's why you see the different dates. All right, so staff liaison, I already mentioned myself and Mr. Tabor. I won't go through the whole slide, but Mr. Tabor, do you want to introduce yourself really quickly?
Reggie Tabor. I've been with the town of Dumfries for a little over 2 years, and it's been a wonderful experience, and we've seen quite a bit of development and change, and looking forward to much more and working with you as members of the authority.
Although we'll be your primary touch point with the town and the town council, there may be instances where other staff will also be involved, and you can kind of see the list on the bottom there. Obviously, the town manager, certain situation may require interacting with the town attorney, CFO, bond counsel, and so forth. As a semi-independent authority, you also have the ability to acquire professional services in terms of bookkeeping, bond counsel separately as well as you build up your budget and so forth. Some of the EDA best practices that you'll find around, this region, especially all of the major jurisdiction in Northern Virginia has an EDA to help foster economic activities and economic development. Typically, they appoint a key town staff as a liaison, normally either a treasurer or a secretary. In this case, I would recommend that as I'm the primary liaison with you all, that I would hope that you can select me as a secretary. But we'll get back to that point in a second. And then, as the body is onboarding, the recommendation is to have a monthly meeting until you get situated. And then as you acquire more initiatives, acquire more projects, then the work will actually dictate the meetings. You have the ability to call meetings as needed with the requisite public notice being provided. And then, of course, as all meetings go, we adopt Robert's Rules Order to conduct the business, not just for legal compliance, but also for FOIA purposes. And then, obviously, part of staff liaison is to provide the wraparound services for these meetings so that you can conduct your business. But as well, we try to be that link to the town's comprehensive plan and or capital infrastructure and or, the Dumfries 2044 vision. And so as you go out and find projects of your own, we try to find synergy between what your efforts are, and hopefully both entities are aligned as we achieve that common goal of the comprehensive plan. And then, as we go forward, there's certain things that will be good for you all to get familiar with, in particular with bond financing. And so we'll try to arrange some of those with bond counsel and financial advisor, especially with public-private partnership. That is where the EDA really has a large impact in that process. We will try to, integrate you with Virginia economic briefings from the Weldon Cooper Center, get you tie into some of these economic forum, whether it's the Chamber of Commerce or the Virginia Economic Development Authorities. That's different organization, and we're trying to get you linked in with those as much as possible, given the existing constraints and time and money. And then because you are a semi-autonomous entity, we also recommend you have your separate EIN, that's a taxpayer ID, because at some point you will have your own fund balance, checking account, et cetera. If you take a look at the regional EDA, it depends on the size of the jurisdiction. You have some that are really big, like Fairfax and Prince William County, where they have $1 million budgets. Obviously, we're very small and we're just starting. But at some point, I think that that separation helps to keep the two entities kind of clean from each other. And then because you are a part of the town, because you are members appointed by the town council, we do require an annual financial audit, and that is actually written in the enabling legislation, which is the town ordinance that established the EDA. So there is a requirement for you guys to report your audit, your financial transactions, a year-end audit, and so forth, even though you're separated. All right, so some of the proposed 30, 60, 90 days work plan. And as you may notice on the left column, it's just a little bit more robust, right? Because we're onboarding, we're trying to get things set up. And then as it kind of tapers towards the right in December. And this is not because we don't have anything planned, it's just that we're focusing on the formalities. And as you get onboarded and just get more projects in, then that will organically drive the work meetings. So what has been done so far to date? As you can see there, staff review the state code, the town ordinance. The town ordinance is in your orientation folder that I'll share with you in a second. Review your bios, make contact via memos and welcome letter. We drafted the bylaws that I'll share with you here in a second by researching other jurisdictions as well as best practices. We have built an in-progress EDA webpage, and the reason why I say in progress is, we're just building it up. I got to add some stuff as we go forward, and I'll show you where that is in a second. We have also made created a proposed calendar, meeting calendar, subject to your approval. I'll share that here in a minute as well. And then obviously we're here at the first meeting to hopefully at the end tonight appoint an officer and approve the bylaw. But you also have the ability to defer that to the next meeting as well. But that was the initial plan. There are some stuff still pending, as you see there. We're still working on creating a budget for you going forward. Whoever the treasurer is will have to create your own budget, but we will help you with that process. Being the first year, we kind of went ahead and kind of did the work on that. And then, working with our finance department to establish your checking account, EIN, those things. The EIN is a little bit slow because the federal government is currently not open, so the IRS is not working. So that's going a little slower than anticipated. And in November, right, should you not get to some of the goals tonight, and that is specifically adopting the bylaws and or you're electing your officer, we can bump that to November to finish that task. And then at that point, we're trying to integrate you to some of the regional entities that I mentioned earlier, and then start to provide you opportunity to get some small wins. And then I can brief you that as we get to that point. And then hopefully by the end, and we try to do all this before the holiday break. That's also the other reason why December kind of taper off. We want to get the formalities out of the way before everybody goes out for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So that way when we come back, we can actually do work. So that's kind of the 30, 60-day work plan. Let me go next slide. All right, so some of the short-term initiative, like I mentioned, this is not an all-encompassing list. You are all now essentially ambassador for the town, and so developers may approach you, and you may have your own initiatives. Whatever the case may be, feel free to share it with us, and we're trying to work on those together. But this is some stuff, some items that town staff has identified that we could achieve together. Establish a small business council. A little bit of work has already done on that. Creating that small business survey and registry, updating that so we have the latest data. A facade improvement grant that staff is in the process of researching, and we'll present that to you all. And then just some of the smaller initiative, like the town branding initiative, finding sponsor, maybe doing a little research to designate tourism zone, especially as we all know that the waterfront district is a viable project in the future. And then we do have a couple of projects in the works that are related to that, the Brownsfield project and the Clyde Washington Community Center. And so just exploring some bond financing options. So those are some of the short-term initiatives that we could achieve. And then, like I said, you are more than welcome to add to the list and just let staff know. All right, so let's move on. So what are some of the benefits, right, to serving on the board here? Obviously, I mentioned we will try to get you network with other entities. We do have, we will get you a membership in the Chamber of Commerce to start. So little things like that. We'll find opportunities for you to attend BEDA conferences and training, etc. There are 4 different types of EDA related orientation/training, and I'll kind of go over them really quickly here. The first one is called VIDA, Virginia Industrial Development Authority. It's a CE, continuing education, in partnership with Virginia Tech. They do offer a course that is $80 per person. I think that would be good if you're interested to attend. We can source that for you. The VEDP is essentially the state version of you. You are the EDA for the town of Dumfries. That is the state version of their EDA. They do have some orientation as well as onboarding training. It's more of a familiarization course about what they do at the state level. You're more than welcome to do that as well. That's free. So I think that's a good thing for you to be aware of and familiar with, because we do some stuff with the state level, especially with Virginia Tourism. And then BEDA is a trade association for economic development of professional, and they do conferences in the fall and the summer. Additionally, there are other retail-specific conferences. For example, ICSC, I'm sure some of you may have heard of that. They are a commercial real estate/retail trade show where all the retailers would come in one place, and that's how you network and recruit potential developer to come to whatever jurisdiction you're from. And so we hope to be able to send you to one of those conferences to kind of get a feel for what those are like, and to recruit some potential developers. There's one in DC in March 2026. So I just want to give you that heads up. I will circle back with you once we kind of do some more research. And then, obviously, as with other boards in the town, you do get a stipend for attending the meetings. I'll show that. It's written in your bylaw, but I'll just give you the summary real quick. You do get a $50 stipend for attending each meeting, not to exceed 2 in 1 month. And how that workflow works is that we'll take attendance, and I believe every quarter I submit it to finance, and they'll process the payment. So we try not to do it every month, because that's obviously if we do that every month for every board, that creates a lot of work for finance. So I think we're going to batch them quarterly, and so we'll take attendance. I'll keep you apprised on your attendance so that there's full transparency there, and then every quarter I'll let you know when the stipends are available for you to pick up. So. And then obviously, as a member of the town appointed, leaders, you get to be tied in with all of our events, whether it's through Parks and Rec, or you get recognition on our town website, social media, volunteer appreciation events, and so forth. So there are some benefits to serving, and we appreciate your service to the EDA. Let's see here. So, for those watching at home, like why is there an EDA? Why do we want to do this? Well, to start, the EDA consists of members like yourself who have a vested interest in seeing Dumfries do well, particularly as it relates to real estate development, retail recruiting, and investment writ large. And then by authorities granted to you, you can engage and facilitate certain activities that the town cannot, because by the regulation granted to you, you can make a little bit more speculative investment than the town could. And so I think you have a little more flexibility in that regard. And then I mentioned the networking, as well as being the ambassador for the business community here within Dumfries. And that is it for the orientation slide. I'll kind of pause here really quickly and see if I have any question on this before we move on to the next topic.
So just one question.
Yes, sir.
So is it normal for EDAs to follow Robert's rules? That normal?
Yes, sir. So most of our boards follow Robert's rule.
EDAs.
Yes, sir. Sure. Any other questions?
I got a question. You said that you had already started the process of establishing the small business council. Did I hear that correctly?
No, so we're researching ways to do this. We do not have a small business council yet. That's one of the goals of trying to create one. We have started working on sort of maintaining and creating a small business registry, and that's leveraging existing infrastructure. So every time a business opens, they either have to get a permit or they pay their taxes. So by default, we can derive sort of a list, but we have not. I mean, we know who some of the key stakeholders are, some of the contributing members of the community, but we don't have a town business council yet, and that's something that certainly, if you can help us establish, that would be great, because that's something that we want to do. So,
Okay, I guess I heard that wrong. I thought I heard you said you had started that process, but I guess you were talking about the registry
Yes, sir.
aspect of it. Okay.
Yeah, I actually have a question. So for the financing mechanisms that we're authorized to engage in, who would be assuming the liability? Would this board be assuming the liability of that, or would that be an individual conversation?
no, so in general, the board is not, each individual member is not liable for decision the board makes. You sort of have it's detached from your personal liability. So, there are situations where EDA boards make investments that go awry, but unless there's growth restrictions or criminal activity involved, you are not liable for that at the individual level for that decision.
And we have that kind of spelled out in our bylaws?
I think it's in state code, but I can circle back on that. And we can certainly add that to your bylaw once you find it in state code. Any other question? Okay. All right, so the next one is the orientation.
Oh, I'm sorry, just one more.
Sure.
On the financial audit report, since we're on that subject, if an individual member is using those financing mechanisms, does that, whatever that financial disclosure, will that trigger a financial disclosure from each of us on that?
When you say,
So for example, if someone is working to sell some type of municipal bond and there is a financial interest in that for either person on the board, is that something that would need to be disclosed?
yeah.
Would
So,
that be handled in the financial audit?
good question. So those are two separate things. So what you're referring to is conflict of interest. And yes, if you have a conflict of interest, you got to disclose and perhaps remove yourself from the vote, whatever the item at that moment is under discussion. But the audit is more, so you will at some point have a budget, revenue, expenditure, you'll make transactions, you have your bank account, so you have to do reconciliation. The audit is focusing on that to make sure that like the accounting, the accrual accounting to cash basis is recorded correctly and that your fund balance is legitimate. That's really what that accounting or audit is. It's similar to what the town does on a yearly basis. And so at the end, you'll have an audit report. And I believe that the way that this is going to be structured is that your audit report will be treated as a subunit in the town's audit report.
So that audit report is for the board, for
Yep.
what we're doing as a board. If that's not
Correct. No, not an individual.
anybody's individual.
Nope, not individual. Now, if you have a conflict of interest, then definitely you have to bring that up. So that's a separate matter. Any other question? So we will look at the liability piece in state code, but I'm fairly certain that protection is spelled out. So, okay. So the next item on the agenda is orientation folder. Now I sent this link out to you all previously, but I just want to run through this really quickly. All right. One second. Bear with me here. All right. So in your email, I think you'll notice shoot, 1 second. I think it's a lag because I'm pushing it from my laptop here. My apologies. Hey, Evan, how do I share my laptop itself? Push it on the TV. It's just right here. Alright, so I got the window here. There we go. Yep, got it. All right, awesome. So I need to just remove that. For, the comprehensive plan for the town. A couple of EDA, sort of like EDA 101 presentation that that the state uses, and then the FOIA training. So this is good to have for your reference, for future reference, but you will be getting an actual FOIA training from the town attorney at a date TBD, because it's required by state code that each member of the EDA must take the training within 2 months. And so subject to your vote on the calendar, I'll schedule it. And then once every 2 years after that. So that will be delivered by the town attorney. And then some other items that you will most likely not have to do is just more for staff. So like the templates, the minute templates, things of that nature. So that's the orientation folder. Pretty straightforward. Let me know if when I added more stuff to this, I will alert you so that you know what's new and so forth. Any question on the orientation folder? Yeah. And then because this is on the town's file server, feel free to also use it for EDA businesses. It is on the file, and just to be clear on that note, it is on the town file server. So please do not put personal stuff on there if that you do not want to share. So just a full disclaimer. Okay, all right. So we're going to move on to. Want to make sure that we touch on certain items that are important, and so I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Can you zoom in a little bit? I can't hard to see. There we go. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay, so my apologies for the small wording, but I'll go through this really quickly just to hit some of the highlight, like I said. So on the first page, under the purpose section, you see some red fonts. That essentially is giving you the purpose and the powers granted to you to do certain things, specifically acquire, own, lease, dispose of properties, and then just in general promote industry and economic development. So pretty broad powers. intended to really stir economic development in the town. Again, like I said, I don't want to go through all of the bylaws verbatim. I just want to hit on some of the keynotes. Moving on to Article 2, the structure of the board of directors and officer. So this board is governed by 7 members. You are appointed to staggered term, as I mentioned previously. Any director may resign at any time. It's just that you have to provide notice to the secretary, whoever that is, and that it will take effect no earlier than the next regular or special meeting. And then any director may also be removed if there are, of course, neglect of duty, misuse of the office, non-competence or incompetence, or any sort of conviction of certain crimes. If there are a vacancy, then the town council could make an appointment to backfill that vacancy for the unexpired term until the next, year where a permanent placement can be appointed. And then in terms of officer, you all shall elect from your membership a chairman, a vice chairman, a treasurer, and a secretary, or a treasurer secretary combined. Staff is recommending that you elect one of the staff as secretary because that's more of an administrative role, taking minutes, taking notes, and then elect one of your members as the treasurer. And certainly, even though you're elected treasurer, if you have any question on how to actually perform the duties, we can facilitate that and we can help guide you through it. But those are the positions that you have to elect. The chairman, of course, shall preside at all the meetings, call the meeting to order. The vice chairman shall do that in his absence. And then if both of them are absent, then you would vote on a temporary chair to preside over that meeting. The secretary shall be responsible for, like I said, take detailed minutes, maintain records. That's one of the things that actually is important for you to note, that anything you do in the official business, emails, texts, etc., they are subject to the Public Records Act. And then we have to keep these records for a certain number of years and make them accessible whenever someone asks for them. There are certain exceptions in the FOIA rule that we could, redact, but far and large, it's releasable to the public. So just a warning there. And, you'll get this training again, like I said, from the town attorney. The treasurer shall be custodian of all the funds, shall keep and maintain suitable financial records, shall have the records audited annually, and copies of each annual audit shall be furnished to the town council within 7 days of the audit report being completed. I just want to highlight that because obviously the treasurer is one of the more important, duties and responsibility on the board. And then I mentioned the FOIA training, so I won't go through that again. I mentioned the stipend. Quorum is 4 members. When a quorum is present, like I said, if the chair and vice chair is missing, you could elect a temporary chair to chair that meeting. The only exception is that everybody has to stay there for the duration of that meeting for that meeting to be valid. So if the vice chair and chair is missing, a temporary chair can be elected, and then you have to conduct that meeting in totality. The annual meeting, so we try to align this calendar to the town fiscal year, which starts in July and ends in June. And so we are templating to have the annual meeting, at the first regular meeting of each fiscal year. So the first Wednesday of July, and that's where you also re-elect your officers as well. Regular meetings, I mentioned earlier, right now the cadence is every month, the first Wednesday of each month being proposed. I will explain why here in a second. At 7 p.m. here in the council chamber. You can hold special or emergency meetings as necessary, whether it's, someone being removed, someone vacated a seat, or, a project that is time of the essence. So there are several reasons that you could hold an emergency meeting. The only requirement is that we publish the notice prior to, I think it's 3 days prior to the meeting. And then as you see through the bylaws, a lot of the critical pieces has to do with finances. The EDA will be a self-sustaining entity. You will have your own bank account. You conduct your own financial record keeping. You have your own taxpayer ID, internal financial controls. And then I mentioned the audit earlier, an annual audit presented to council. The treasurers will also prepare an annual budget, and that's more, operating budget, revenue expenditure. Obviously, because you are in your infancy, grants, sponsorships, perhaps a little bit of the town provided funding to get you started. But as you have projects, there are various ways in which the EDA can earn revenue. For example, if you if you finance a private project, you can charge an administrative fee, sort of a processing fee that earns interest over time. And so there are ways that the EDA can generate this revenue once it's a little bit more matured. And so that's kind of where you kind of, create your budget based on those revenue sources and whatever expenditures you may have. Of course, we are here. We do budget on a monthly basis. So if you have any questions, we can assist, but it is your budget. Okay. The agenda of meetings, as you can see from the agenda sheet, that's the order. See, special committees, you are allowed to create special committees as needed. Let's say, and I'm just throwing an example out here. Let's say you wanted to create a data center working group. You could create certain, committees to research a particular topic or work on a particular item as needed. And then subsequent to that project being completed, you can absorb the committee and so forth. Administrative support, once the EDA is more mature and does have its own budget and revenue, you have the ability to retain your own bond counsel as well as financial advisor or bookkeeper. So really fully self-sustaining. And I mentioned the authority may charge fees in connection with issuing bonds, and those fees are one of your revenue sources. All right. Amendments. So you are you are able to amend this bylaw anytime you want, should something not meet up to your collective, expectation. The only requirement is that you have to, be voted on by the majority of the directors at a regular or special meeting, and it cannot be adopted unless 7 days of written notice is provided to all members of the authorities. And whatever amended bylaws that you want to consider has to also be approved by the town council. So that's kind of some of the, nuts and bolts key points of the bylaw. I obviously did not go through all of it. So, in the interest of time, I'll take any questions for now, but I do encourage you to review the bylaws in this totality before you, vote on it. Any questions thus far on the bylaws?
So the only thing that's not in there, what he asked before, is the liability issue.
Yes, sir. And we can research that and get back to you. So we have that as a dual.
I have a question. So you mentioned email earlier. Will we receive our own email?
Yeah, yes, ma'am. So that's one of my to-do lists here that I'll run through later, but we'll touch on that now. So right now you're using your personal emails, and I'm tracking Dr. Spencer. You wanted to use a different one, so we'll make that change. We're still trying to figure out whether or not we can give you town official email addresses. It's a budget thing more than anything else, because Microsoft works on a licensing basis, as you know. So we're still looking into that. But for now, we'll conduct business with your personal email. So I owe you that answer still.
What was a follow-up? Will that mean that our personal emails will be subject to FOIA? If we continue using those personal emails to the extent, even to the 30, 60, 90 day setup, now are we?
Yes. Use your personal
Yep.
email. When we conducting email.
Yes, sir.
So then we would, as of right now, we would need to establish a separate email in order to, as best practice as of right now. Okay.
And we'll see, if there's a way to navigate the cost challenge, maybe a group email versus individual one.
You can also just get onto Yahoo account or Gmail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray Harris at town of
Yeah,
Dumfries
I just started a new one.
at gmail.com or something like that. We can all have the same nomenclature.
But you are going to create emails for us regardless, you know.
Let me circle back with you on that because I don't want to make a promise I can't keep.
And even to that extent, in terms of FOIA, I know we're going to go over this with the attorney, but this includes our cell phones. You conduct it.
Sure.
So does that mean that we should be receiving separate phones specifically for our duties?
You may
here?
not. With the other boards, we don't have.
Yeah, I don't think we have the budget for separate cell
And
phone.
that's been for years.
And when it comes to, group chats that may need to be formed through WhatsApp, Signal, et cetera, how does that, as a means of group communication? work?
Yeah, so this, so those will be subject to FOIA as well. I was talking about official business. I'm not a FOIA person, so I think, these are good questions. I think the attorney would probably be best postured to answer. I don't want to give you the wrong answer. But generally speaking, if you're using personal group chat Signal, because I have Signal and Wicker too. I use them too, right? Wicker Gov. So, they are subject to FOIA, certainly. Yes.
I guess that we can't approve anything until we have our own emails, right?
Huh?
Can't approve anything until we have our own emails. Because I'm not.
I would say don't necessarily count on that because, again, the rest of the boards, as far as, to my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, Tyrone, but I don't know of any boards where any of the board members have a town separate email. We all have been using our personal emails, communicating back and forth with staff for any business. And, as he said, I know personally that my phone and my personal devices are subject to that at any time. And I've been on the planning commission now for I don't know how many years, and we've never had that. So this would be a first.
So we can
It would
set them,
be a good one though. I
yeah,
think.
So I think this board is a little different. Especially dealing with the financial piece.
exactly.
And so, again, don't want to cost the town any funds, but this is probably going to be a necessity that we get this taken care of sooner than later.
We'll take that set of due out to research more and circle back with you on it.
Okay.
And then all the FOIA questions related to your personal chat and stuff. I think, I'd love for you to ask that to the TA when we schedule her for that training piece, because I think she's probably will give you the best answer to alleviate some of your concerns. But we'll take the due out for the email address. Okay. Any other questions on the draft bylaws? Okay, we will move on to the proposed meeting calendar, and a couple of note I want to mention on this one. So,
I did actually have one more question.
yes, sir.
And it was for the treasurer position, and I'm pulling it out now. It says the financial audit has to be done by a certified, a CPA. Will we be responsible for that cost?
So obviously you don't have any money right now, so the town will have to facilitate some of that. When you get to a certain financial position where you do have the resources, then you'll be responsible. That's part of your budgeting, exercise to budget for that cost. But certainly we know that you don't have any funding right now, so we'll obviously make sure that all of the town entities stay in compliance. So we'll have to facilitate that.
So will we have to essentially vote on that and then address the town as well?
No, so the audit right now, the town does an audit every year for its entire, activities and fund balances. And right now, I think the way forward is we're going to treat you guys as a subunit. So like the audit will include you guys.
Okay. Can we just make sure we have some clarity on that one?
Sure.
It can be, we know where we're going with that.
And on the back of that, is that the reason why there is an option to select a treasurer who isn't a director on the EDA?
Yeah, one of the, we definitely want to kind of maintain that separate, line between you guys and the town, because you're going to have your own bank account and tax ID and stuff. So it would make sense for the town treasurer or CFO to kind of oversee your transaction when you have a different taxpayer ID and bank account and everything else. So that's why we want to make sure you guys have your own treasurer. Are there, working relationships where we can help, you to build your budget, to sort of like show you how things are done without actually like telling you what to do with the money? Yes.
Yeah, because the reason I bring that up is ideally the treasurer we nominate should be a CPA, or at least be an accountant.
I've seen, no, you're absolutely right. The assumption is that the treasurer should know finance and accounting.
There's a difference between finance and accounting.
There is, you're absolutely right, yes. I've seen treasurer in localities that don't have neither of those training, if I'm being honest. So,
The gold standard here.
yes, sir. No, I get what you're saying. Yes, sir. And if you don't feel comfortable, electing one of your members as treasurer, then let me know, and I'll take that back to our leadership and see where we can.
Yeah, I think ideally it should be someone who's a CPA, or at least is an accountant.
Ooh, that's okay. Duly noted. I'll take that comment.
Okay.
Any other questions before I go to the proposed calendar? All right.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
There's an organization called the International Economic Development Council. They, I believe, provide accreditation for, they have the Accredited Economic Development Organization.
Okay.
Is that something that has come your way?
Yeah, so just like anything, whether it's, initiatives like that or projects, you guys are free to bring back, anything, any idea any initiative you want to pursue. So if that's something you want to look into, we can definitely do research and see if it's feasible and bring it back to you. Right now, we just have several things that we know we have planned for you. That's sort of like this handwalk process. But any initiative you wanted to do, you're more than welcome to bring back, and we'll do the research for you. Because we know you don't have the funding, you don't have the capacity right now to do that. But once you're more mature, then you can pursue that initiative on your own. Let's say, 10 years down the road and you have a fund balance, you have a revenue, you can go out and pursue that accreditation yourself. But yeah, if you shoot me an email with that entity and what that process is, we can do some research on that.
Okay, will do.
Yep. Okay, so, this is the proposed meeting calendar. And so obviously right now, we are in October 29th. We were supposed to have this last week, but because of the advertisement, challenge, we bumped it 1 week, right? So one of the recommendation was to have this on the first Wednesday of every month. And I'll touch on November here in a second. And so you can kind of see the red boxes there indicating the first Wednesday of every month. Why do we choose that? Why do we choose that date? Because as you can see, the planning considerations, there are conflicts in a lot of the other dates. And so we try to pick one that doesn't have conflict. Going back, and then going back to November, the reason why it's in blue is because obviously we just have the meeting now. We don't want to have the meeting next week, right? Because that's too soon. And so plus I need to advertise the meeting, so that I need some time to do that as well. And so initially I templated for the 12th, which is not the first Wednesday. However, I found out today that this boardroom will be used by there's a schedule conflict for this boardroom for that date. So I present to you is the third week. I'm sorry, I can't see that. The 19th, is that okay for the next meeting in November? I think that's the 19th. I'm sorry, the font is too small. Okay. Or we can push it to the week after that, but then, keeping in mind that the first Wednesday of December is right around the corner. So that's one thing. And then the reason why July is in blue, like I mentioned, according to the bylaws, which I know we have some work to do to revise before you approve it, it states that you have to elect your officers in the first meeting in July. That's why that's sort of your first annual meeting, if you will. So that's the proposed calendar. If you're okay with making the change in November, I guess this is something you could approve tonight if you want. And then we can post that, on the town website, things of that nature. So it's okay to move that to the 19th, November 19th?
I'm good with that.
Okay.
Fine with that.
All right. So we'll get to that in new business because you can vote to. I don't have that on the agenda. My apologies. Okay. We have to vote on this for the next meeting, but we can do that day up, right? We can approve the calendar next meeting okay. So I'll have that as an action item for the next meeting on the 19th for you to vote on the year calendar. Okay. All right. That is all the presentations that I have. Mr. Chair, sir, I'll turn it back to you to kind of go through the agenda. I do have some notes that I'll mention as you move down to the staff report. So, sir, I'll give it back to you.
Okay, so next item on the agenda is new business. So I would like to motion to take a 5-minute recess.
We can do that, I think. Yeah.
I'll second. 2:05.
Just like 10.
Okay. All in favor? Aye? You said aye? I couldn't hear that, but okay. All right, so we'll take a 5-minute recess.
He said cut the meeting.
So I didn't I'd like to call the EDA board meeting of October 29th back into session. We're moving now to new business. The first item is vote on bylaws. I motion to table both and also vote to elect official officers. I motion to table both of those items.
Second it.
Is there all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that was all consensus, right? Okay. All right.
Next item on the agenda is the EDA chairman's report.
Sir, any report? No report for tonight? Okay.
First meeting, we have a report next. The next item is EDA director's report. We
So-
have
So any EDA director, the floor is kind of open for anyone.
So just report, just me.
Like anything you want to bring up for the group, the group. Yep, yes, sir.
anyone?
No, I brought mine up already.
So this is simply a time for any comments, any recommendations, suggestions
Sure.
that you may have identified privately you want to bring to the board. I would just like to thank all of you for being a part of this work. This is a lot of work. But I think at the end of the day, we're going to make Dumfries a better place. And I'm here to support you in your endeavors. And I hope that you're doing the same for each of the board members. The next item on the agenda is staff report.
Yes, sir. So now that we kind of tabled the formal aspect of it, I do have several administrative notes that I want to share with the group, sir. So give me 1 second here. Evan, I'm going to pull up I'm sharing my screen for the website. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So first, we'll talk about photos. After this meeting, we'll take a group photo so I can upload it to the website, which I'll show you here in a second. And then if you have individual photos that you want to share with me to upload, I can do that as well. Headshot. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. EDA website. So if you just kind of search for Town of Dumfries, right, you'll be able to go and see the town website. If you hover over government, you see this drop-down menu here, and if you scroll down, you see this EDA, landing page. If you click on it, that is your landing page. Now, a couple of notes that I want to make. I will be maintaining this to alleviate the burden on our IT staff. They're spread thin. So anything that we have, whether it's agenda, updated appointment members or dates or terms, your photos, etc., projects, Cheryl will help you with the minutes before I upload them. So I will be maintaining. So if you see anything up there that's stale, that's on me. So just let me know. So I will be doing that. This is where your landing page is. Going back to sort of like the separation piece. So there, if you look at the bigger jurisdictions, Fairfax County, for example, their EDA does use a completely different website domain. So like their county is .gov and their EDA is like .org or something. And so when you have a better financial position, that's something you could explore as an initiative, your own website. But for now, for funding and then, expediency, you are a landing page on the town website. So just FYI. Okay, so I mentioned that supplies. Obviously, the two immediate supplies that you'll need right now that staff is working on is one, your nameplates, which we were hoping to delay ordering until you appoint officers because it wouldn't make sense to make your nameplate and then change it again. So we'll defer that for now. We'll use the paper plates for now, but we'll order those once you appoint your officers. Polos. So we will procure some polos for you as you attend trade shows and conferences and seminars so that you can represent, or even events, so that you can represent the town of Dumfries. And what it will most look like is just a regular polo with like the town seal, that one behind you, and then Economic Development Authority underneath the seal. So please shoot me your size. I can give you a mock-up of what it looks like beforehand, but if you can shoot me your size so we can get that ordered. Okay. So we talk about the emails and the comms. Agenda minutes, attendance stipend, we kind of talk about that. I mentioned FOIA training. In the budget, so, obviously pending your appointment of a treasurer that will manage your budget, and we can facilitate that, of course. We are building your first budget now, just because you are just starting out. We hope that if the budget is approved, that we could send you to several of the things I mentioned earlier, for example, the ICSC conference, or small projects that you can start immediately to get that small win, membership in the Chamber of Commerce, and then some of the training sessions that I mentioned previously. So that's all being proposed in the drafted budget. Once that is approved, I will circle back with you on the actual logistical, items needed to do those things. You don't have to do all of them, obviously, because I know the schedule conflicts and whatnot. It's just that what we thought would be ideal and helpful to get you established. So that's all of my notes thus far. That's all I have, sir.
So are we going to be getting business cards from the town, or that's going to come out our budget?
I can ask that question. The current budget does have some supplies baked in, the supplies allowances, so I can ask. I don't believe any of our other boards have business cards, so let me check on that.
Well, that's a good question. So if we do our own, will there be a standard template since we are representing the county?
There is a standard template that I can share with you. When you say your own, like,
If you all don't buy it, we would need to get our own business cards.
Yeah,
That's gonna have to, so we would.
let me take that as a do answer. Okay, let me take that into Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman, sir. Back to you.
Okay, so we're going to adjourn the meeting today. All in favor, make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you. All right. Thank you.